What are you doing?
Waiting. Hi, everybody. I don't know how much you saw of me just sitting there waiting, but I have been lectured that I start too early by my producer. So there you go. Hi, I am so excited that you guys all joined. And I have to say a little side note from our KP Live pre-show to Alan Steele. I'm sorry, but you're gaming without me. What? Hello, what? We're going to be talking about that later. Yeah. Second, also, Nico, Space Cats. Am I right? Am I right? Thank you. I'm going to tell Sam, and we're putting that back on the table. So thank you for all that. And hello to everybody watching. So I'm really excited. Emmett, Sam, and Bro Dude, thank you. Unless you're talking about the throne, and then, yeah, it's pretty hot. You guys, well, let me just say before we start, I know I gave the announcements during the KP Live show, and I just wanted to say one really special quick announcement. Mark and masks. I announced it then, but August 15th, don't forget about it. Mark your calendars, RSVP. I said I was going to get you the email address. We'll have it by the end of this interview. And so check out the pre-show if you want all of our announcements for the upcoming shows and Suzanne's acting classes and the new KP original series. And if you're going, what Space Cats, check out that, because then you'll get the information on Space Cats. Also, Emmett, yes, this is live. So you're in for a treat as you watch me ramble. I've been wanting to do this for a really long time, and I kept being nervous and distracting myself with who I was interviewing. But today I want to acknowledge the indigenous peoples' lands of which we are on and have a moment to acknowledge where we are. And so in the area that I am, because I know we're all going to be in different areas because COVID, in the area I am on, it is the Bologna wetlands, and it is the Tongva villages and the Tongva people of the land that I'm on. And it is actually rather huge, from Culver City all the way through Santa Monica, in what is now Marina del Rey, Playa del Rey, parts of Venice. It's a pretty big area. So I wanted to just acknowledge those people, and I am going to do a little research and learn a little bit more about the native people of this area. So I hope that you will join me in that. And next week we'll have another group of people from this LA Basin area. Tonight's guest I have known for quite a while. I was going to tell you how long, and then I realized that might give up my ruse of being 25 plus. I mean, I am 25 plus, let's be real. But tonight's guest I've known for a minute, and he is very, very special and dear to me. He was also raised in Oklahoma, and we have worked together, and we have been in each other's lives and friends, and I'm so excited to learn more from him and about him. And so you may remember him from Ragtime. He was younger brother understudy, and from Fiddler as Vietka. So let's bring on Kryzstofer Stefanic. Hi,
Hey everybody. Hey Sam.
Yay, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for inviting me. It's really, really awesome just to have this connection.
Yay.
And to go down a little bit of memory lane as we do in our
We will.
reflections during this time.
Yes, and I'm super excited to speak with you. I mean, it's kind of special that we've known each other since back home, and you came out here and then also worked at Kentwood, which is our little home theater, and we're a member at Kentwood. So did you hear about Kentwood through me, or how did you hear about Kentwood?
You know, it was through you. I was going to say my very special, very beautiful, very talented, and involved friend Samantha told me all about Kentwood. You were going to the auditions for Ragtime.
Yes.
That were being held. It was January of 2013. I'd been out here less than a year. And you were going and just kind of randomly asked me if I wanted to go with you, and I didn't have anything going on and just kind of agreed to it and said, why not? I mean, wouldn't hurt, right? So we went along with it, and I got to know everybody pretty well, and first time there, and fell in love immediately.
Yay! Well, you were very much welcomed, and we're very excited. I said in our little KP Live pre-show that we haven't seen you in a minute, but I'm gonna seduce you back with this interview.
I
When
Please
we,
seduce me. I've missed it. I have missed it. There's been a
yay!
lot of.
Well, we're gonna find out later in the interview what you've been doing and what's been keeping you away. I'm really excited about it because I know what you've been doing. So, but I'm really excited to hear. I know there's some things I don't. So I'm looking forward to that. But before we go down that road, let's go down the history of Stefanic in theater and how did you get involved in theater in the first place?
Uh, it's a funny story that involves many people.
I know.
Namely, my parents.
Yes.
My parents, as you both knew because you worked with both of my parents individually.
Yeah.
They were very big into the Tulsa art scene, very big into the Tulsa theater scene, really kind of walked with a degree of sophistication wherever they went, and it was a pretty inescapable shadow to crawl out from under. So, it was, everything was there, and I kind of developed a flair for being very dramatic when I was very young, and the rest of it just kind of took off.
Yes. Little fun fact, Vern and Lisa Stefanic are also partially responsible for my being in the theater.
Yes.
So there you go. They were my first shows as well. That is so, yeah. Yeah, well.
So, and they certainly encouraged it. I'm sorry, I meant to add that they certainly encouraged it. May not have showed as much support as I would have hoped that they would have, but they definitely encouraged it and were very supportive in terms of coming to see the shows.
Absolutely. Well, they know how hard it is firsthand to be an actor and a writer. They know for sure. So I'm sure there's a little bit of warning in that.
Yeah.
So you started at a young age, that I know. And then what so you then took a different route when you went to school.
Mm-hmm.
And you started in the film world. What brought you out of theater and into film?
It was kind of a toss-up of where I was going to go when I reached about the age of 16 years old. I remember my dad taking me to see a repertory screening of Ben-Hur when William Wyler's Ben-Hur, the one with Charles Inescu, 1959 engineer. And it changed my life. The big sets, the major ones, Miklos Hormoz's score, all of it had this profound impact on me that for a while carried me through my interest in theater and how theater affects its live audiences. But I realized that film has a tendency to reach a greater capacity of audiences, and I could implement my own ideas and my own view of the world better through that. And just the aspect of cinematography and music being married, I don't know, it just really came alive in me, and I couldn't stay away.
I love it. But you haven't let go of your theater background or love.
I tried to keep up with it by acting in my own productions, be it whether they were just kind of portfolio productions that I would do to have something to show for, editing productions, experiments. My friend, their short films, so it never really went away, and it was always kind of just in the background, like a supporting character in the play that is my life, and always coming on when needed. So as the best theater does.
But you still do shows and stuff around town, even if it's little cabaret things and other projects. Mm-hmm. Do you think that you'll ever stop doing live stuff?
No. And especially now that I've really kind of come into my own. I have an alter ego that's my drag persona. Name's Miss Obnoxious Tootsie, and she's performed at Akbar in Silver Lake a couple of times, and it's this new form of expression that I just embraced 2 years ago, maybe less than.
I love it.
and I'm having so much fun. It was the final piece of the puzzle to who I am theatrically, and now the possibilities of what I can do either as Tootsie or in a role as myself, or maybe even Tootsie playing a role. It would still it's something that will enrich and help me to enrich the rest of the world.
I love this, and I don't know if you saw or know about the announcement I made in the KPLA pre-show, but after the Mark and Mask Awards, we're doing a little after party hosted by two of my favorite drag queens, Mama Lou Soul and I'm a Hot Mess. So maybe we might have a special appearance by Miss Tootsie. We might have to talk about that.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna have to get you on the phone with her. She a real catty bitch, but I
Yeah.
can get on.
Oh, just what the doctor ordered. I'm gonna have Ima's people call her people, and we'll see what we can do. Because I know people. We might be able to make
Sounds
this
like
happen. Yay!
yes, your friendship will mate with my friendships, and it will be a glorious birth.
I love this. I love this idea. This is excited. And we just got one of our viewers. Sam is also very excited for Market Massing, excited for what we're talking about. So yay! Even through this, even through Zoom and quarantine, we are still affecting people. I love it. I love it. Let's actually talk a little bit about. Well, before I move on to your process, I want to talk a little bit about your experiences in theater and the power of theater and how it affected your life or affected. I mean, you just shared a little bit about how the performance you've been doing in the past couple of years have been empowering for you. How informing who you are, how has theater played a role in your life and in your growth?
In human relations, it's really enhanced my ability to key in on people in different conversations that has in turn created stronger bonds with people. I mean, we go to the theater to relate to the characters, to it's like being in a therapy session with other people. I mean, because everybody is experiencing the same thing.
Yeah.
And I've always said that when you either go to the theater or go see a movie, those are the two probably most universal art forms that can bring the most different set of people together. No matter who you are, no matter where you've been, you can all sit right next to each other, in a good show or a picture, and immediately bond over one thing that you both relate to. And it has the capacity, the capabilities to be greater with all the awareness in independent cinema and self-starting theater companies. So yeah, that's always been what you're into it.
I love that. I have to say, I agree. I mean, don't you think that the friendships that you make, even while doing productions, just seem to last no matter what?
Yeah,
That's what I
they're
feel.
definitely richer. Very stronger bonds.
Yeah.
Theater is thicker than business or work or
Yeah,
whatever
it's
they
true.
call it.
It's really true. I feel that that's a really great point that I think keeps a lot of people coming back, and
Mhm.
and I think also, as I teach, getting the students that went out that maybe didn't stay in the industry, but it has affected how they're able to create relationships and strengthen relationships even still. I love it. So let me talk a little bit about your
And even
process.
the vibes
Oh,
of energy. Oh, okay, sure. No.
no, go ahead, because
Sorry.
it froze a little bit, so I didn't catch you.
I just wanted to say that the vibrations of energy that we give off as humans now in an era, excuse me, that we're referencing as the fifth dimension or the age of Aquarius, we are so much more in tune and aware of each other now than we ever have been in the past. That's why you have the Black Lives Matter movement. We had the Me Too movement before that. I mean, just totally, the total force of brotherhood is coming through the age of Aquarius. And so that's something else that I believe, was brought about by so much theater, by all of the vibrations giving off, and theater's understanding all that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I think that as we are coming together like that, and art is that mouthpiece and has existed in all major changes throughout our civilization. It has existed from the beginning. It's an education tool, it's an inspiration tool, it's a reflection of ourselves as humans. And this makes a lot of sense as we are creating so much art, so much music, so much dance, everything, and
Yeah,
we're not standing for any of this stuff anymore. We're done.
exactly.
We're
Exactly.
standing up. I love it. I think that's great. So I let me talk a little bit about your process when you approach a character. Is it different when you're going on stage versus film, or do you approach these characters the same way in finding who they are and what their objectives are?
I approach them the same way, which is it's the process of self discovery,
Mm,
basically.
mm,
I mean, because I see these as a person that I really want to get to know, if that makes sense.
yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's, whether it's a film role or a theater role, theatrical, excuse me. It's just you get to know them and you just become them. There's an assimilation that happens because the more you get to know them, the more you empathize with them and relate to them. Much like sitting next to the person in the theater and bonding over that one experience that we were just talking about. Like you and only now it's you and the character, and there's a fusion that happens, at least for me, and it happens in the constant repetition of the lines and the dialogue and rehearsals. Uh, really going through your own past and history to understand maybe an incident that you're drawing from. For me, roles tend to help me understand it better because in reliving emotions and experiences that I am drawing from for the role, I go even deeper with it, and it gives me this kind of light bulb moment, sometimes that I never realized was there.
I love that.
So
Yeah, that's powerful. That's absolutely powerful. I think that's what we do. We're digging in, we're dissecting everything, and we are coming to learn and love this character that we're playing and identifying with it.
right, so by the end of it, the assimilation is has taken place, for lack of a better way of expressing it, and it's you just it's like learning. Trying to think of the best way to put it, but it's like being possessed. The character possesses you, and it's something that when you go on a stage or in front of a screen, for that matter, you kind of relinquish your control to the hard work that you've put in.
Mm, yeah.
It kind of remains its own entity in a way, but it's part of you. So that's probably the most non typical answer you could have expected.
I love it.
That's the way I look at it.
Thank you. Thank you. God, and also one of the reasons why actually I am like you, I love theater and film, both. But one of the things that is a little special to me in the theater, which is why I'll never let go of it, is exactly what you're talking about, is also that added element of that moment. And that when I do it the next day for the next audience, it's a different moment. Even though it's so similar,
Yeah.
it's still different. And it's something that's only shared in that moment. There's something really special about that.
There is, and it always gives you options of how you want to relive it. Just the catharsis that comes from that night after night. I mean, it's incredible. It does the body good. It does our hearts good.
Yes, absolutely. So let me talk because I know this is actor night technically. Well, actors, backers, and crew. But I know that you're a screenwriter and a filmmaker. So I want to talk about it. So how you were actor first, how did this lead to screenwriting and filmmaking?
There's a resonance with me that, I wanted to share it, the joy that I was getting from it, and the overall aspiration to create something, big and extravagant that's going to affect a lot of people. That kind of takes over as priority. And it's not so much about my own vindication of, whatever it is I need to cathartically express through the role, because drama is what roles typically call for, and drama is conflict, and we have to go to those dark, bring the drama out of ourselves from it. So, so having said that, making it more impacting did become anyway, more of a priority to me, and because have kind of this affable, outgoing, mover and a shaker kind of personality, I realized I could do a lot more spreading it like wildfire, and not just keeping it for myself. Because growing up, doing it as a kid and then reaching adulthood and still acting, I've had my fill. Now I want to share the experience of creation with somebody else. With a whole crew of people, and there's no greater feeling than that feeling of accomplishment comes from it. So that's where the roots of producing and writing had originally come into. And as I mentioned earlier, the marriage of sound and image is where the from, because that just gets even more creative and all kinds of technical that are far too fabulous to just leave on.
I actually wrote it down, sharing in the experience of creation. And I mean, in every aspect, we're sharing in the experience of creation, obviously, but you're coming at it with the creator. And I love that what you enjoy is the collaboration of bringing all of that together.
Oh yeah.
I have to say, when you come to me with an idea or your next project, or I've got this thing, this is what I'm working on, and when you come to me with it, like, you start talking about it, and I'm already excited. I'm already like canceling appointments in my calendar. Like, your excitement is contagious, and it is, your passion and love for what you do is contagious. It just makes me like, I want to do it too. Oh wait, I'm not a screenwriter, but. I'm getting there. But
you are my most preferred #1 leading ingenue actress, as I tell everybody. So
you're so sweet. This is not why I love him, y'all. I love him because of him. But I am blushing now. Yay, that makes me happy because I want to work with you more and more and more. So that makes me really happy. Yay. Let me ask you, going forward, we get out of apocalypse. How do you we make it out? How do you what do you want to see? How do you want to see theater come back, or do you want to see it come back, or are you like, it had a good run, it's time to move on?
I definitely wanted to come back because I haven't reached the point yet where I can actually visualize or even comprehend a world without it.
Mm-hmm.
There will always be forms of it, even if it takes the actual industry, Broadway, London West End, and even the small places that we have out here in LA. I think that there will always be a need to understand people.
Yeah.
Even if they don't come up with new plays, new ideas, I think that, there's always a place for Fiddler on the Roof, and a place for Sound of Music. And I mean, there are so many great plays that are evergreens, that'll never grow old, that always, they're the gifts that keep on giving. Just need someone to put it up. And it'll always be here. It's too ingrained in our culture. Film is a different story, but theater definitely.
Yeah. I mean, it always morphs and changes over all the time. We're not doing amphitheater, Greek chorus style shows, right? We're way more realistic. We do a lot of, now this interactive theater that was taking everything by storm. I love it.
Yeah. But see, even that is a form of it. That's
it's a form.
We have.
Exactly. So it's gonna morph. It's gonna change. So we have a great question from our studio audience, which I think is wonderful in tying two aspects of your passion together, and that is, how do you feel about the Zoom plays? Have you seen any Zoom plays since we've been in quarantine? Are you going to see Romeo and Juliet Choose Your Own Ending?
I haven't partaken in any of that yet. I know
You might have to partake in that one because I'm in it.
I figured as much. I figured as much.
Sending you the info immediately. Well, what do you think about? What do you think about?
Just keep me on the up and.
I know, I will. What do you think though about people are so desperate for theater that we're doing it on Zoom? I mean,
it's.
What do you think? You can be honest.
It's it's I definitely don't want to keep doing it forever.
Right.
But if it's a way to keep it going, if it's a way to keep it ingrained in our culture and keep it something that's respected and appreciated, then why not?
It's interesting because I feel like now we all have a little Zoom fatigue, be it all the meetings we're doing, now phone calls or video calls, which I actually love. I hate talking on the phone, but I love video chatting. But we're all getting a little Zoom. I know, but we're all getting a little Zoom fatigued. It's hard.
Yes. Yeah.
But there's still this need to be artistic and creative and to have a voice, And you brought this up earlier. We're talking about Me Too. We're talking about Black Lives Matter. And there are a lot of important things that need to change and that we need to become aware of. And art is a wonderful tool to affect change. So I feel like there is a great importance and things we can do even now, even while we're stuck at home, to really have a voice. Even sometimes it's just entertaining, got it. But sometimes we need to have a message or an education.
Absolutely.
So I'm kind of on the fence. I'm kind of on the fence myself about it.
About
Zoom, please.
Explain that though. I mean, when I see, I do believe in that. We can find ways of writing. I've been writing. I've been doing articles for a couple of the online writing for, and just about what's been going on in the streets, because I think it's important and I want it to be known. I was a part of the burning of Beverly and Fairfax back on like May 26th or May 27th, and that same evening was the Beverly Hills Alamo, where we were getting shot at with rubber bullets, and the protesting and the rioting. Like, everybody just seemed to forget that the vid was on the prowl. I know I did. I was completely masked, but that's beside the point. We need the first-handers. If we have to dramatize it, I mean, is this making sense?
Absolutely. I think we're going to see more art that is about what we've experienced in quarantine and what we've experienced with the protests and all the aspects of what the protests were and are. They're not ending. We have so much work to do. And so we need it. We need all of that art.
Oh yeah.
So
we do. I would be didn't really with they're on Instagram active at. We have been occupying City Hall for I believe this is the 45th or 46th day in a row. I haven't been there every day, but I've been with them over half of the time, and I've been working with them. Tyson Suzuki's the kind of ringleader of it all, and he's been doing a really great job with it. And I encourage everybody who can do something to please do something, because this has to stop. This systemic racism really, really has to stop. Okay, I'm off my soapbox.
Don't ever get off your soapbox. But let's talk about that, because you're a writer, you're a filmmaker, I'm a director, we're both actors. How can we put this into art, into practice, into art? I mean, at Kentwood, we've made some attempts at non-traditional casting and trying to be more diverse. We've got a ways to go. We know that. We're checking in ourselves. We're forming a diversity committee, and there's lots of really important, great things. We understand the need to have more diversity in our shows and in our storytelling. What can we do? How can we use our talents? We were given these, and we know that they're powerful.
it's whatever we do, it has to be, I think, doesn't have to be, excuse me, but I would say to be as narratively subversive as we can, being able to share a story that you can relate 110% to, and on a totally opposite side of the spectrum, a side that isn't seen, a side that is you are unfamiliar with, would be the best way to start that. For example, part of the things that we do is breakout sessions at City Hall whenever we're in between rallies and marches and raising hell in the streets. And one of the questions always asked is, how would you define Black power, or, Black people in leadership? What would it really mean to you? And perspective and determination right away are two of the traits that come to me. Mm-hmm. Whenever we're discussing those things. And so to incorporate in a monologue, that can speak to that, would be a way to subvert, because it's make it something that something that is totally opposite, that you've never heard before, and would like to have it heard. Now is the chance to actually be heard, because everybody's listening.
I missed the very, very first part of that. What did you say? You came on as the word monologue. So what were you saying before?
Just to put that into a character arc, or a character's monologue, something that can be, some way that you can speak to it, and just totally subvert the system of dramatic storytelling. I mean, it's like the sky is the limit, and that's the thing that's so beautiful about it, is that we are at a time now where audiences could not be more open to new ideas, to fresh ideas.
Great. Do you think that the experiences you're having downtown and that you've had in the marches will affect your art form and your storytelling?
Without a doubt. I've learned so much about my own lack of self-respect. It's a literal breaking down of my system, because when we go to school, the textbooks are totally whitewashed. They're written by white people. The whole idea of history is based off of, well, in most cases anyway, it's based off of a white man's vision of the past. And that alone is something that we need to break it down completely. We need to get used to a completely different idea of coexisting. So again, being able to incorporate that, and being able to do
that. I think that is exciting. You're just talking about it, and again, I'm already like jazzed up and I'm on fire. Like I said before, it's contagious, but I love it because it's exciting. There's a need and there's an opportunity, and we need to move forward with that. I think that's great. I love it. There's a lot of work we have to do when we get out of this apocalypse, but we can start now. There's a lot of stuff we can do now.
Start conversations, and that's the most basic way, by the way, is to start conversations. I knew there was something else I was trying to say, sorry. But yeah, have conversations. And they're the most difficult things to have, but have them.
I think that's, yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. We need to listen, and we need to, provide safe spaces for people to share, so that we, can understand everything better and move forward. I think that's great. We're getting close to time. So before we go, we've talked about some really great stuff. I feel very inspired, and I feel like even tying in Sam's question about Zoom plays, I'm like, wow, even now we can be writing things and doing stuff right now to talk about this, or doing the research, like you're saying, research, educating ourselves and having those conversations, doing that right now to prepare for when we're out of this, all of the above. So I feel very excited. But before we go, I want to know, do you have a favorite theatrical experience, or something that always stays in your mind, or a role that you just loved doing and you would do again in a heartbeat? Or
Yes. For me, that I was Reuven in the play adaptation of Chaim Opek's The Chosen. Back in 2005, it was for Heller.
yeah. Oh, he broke. I'm gonna interrupt you real quick while you're frozen. He was saying Heller Theater in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay, you broke up during that part. What did you say after that?
Just it was it's a play about religion and about human relations on different sides of the Jewish spectrum, and just a beautiful show, and getting to kind of express who I was and how I viewed the world today, and that was a beautiful moment of its own. But what I really loved was again the ensembleness of it. It was really an ensemble cast, and we were all very close. Tom Berenson was in
I
it.
love Tom.
I
I
know a
love
friend of
Tom.
ours, for those in the know. Yeah, Tom Berenson, Ron Friedberg,
I love
and
Ron.
Mark Albert, who's an actor there, and then another Judah.
Oh, we missed that last name. Oh, did we lose you?
Beautiful man.
We lost the last name that you said.
Oh, okay. Judah Hudson.
Okay. Wow, what a great cast. Who directed that?
That was Julie Tattershaw.
Julie.
Yep.
I love Julie. I'm a little homesick, I'm not gonna lie. Totally putting you on the spot. You do not have to answer. You are allowed to pass a question. Do you have a crazy debacle or an experience in theater that you're like, oh my gosh, this was the most awful thing I've ever experienced? You don't have to say names. Or was there like a silly thing that happened on stage, a fall, a costume malfunction, a voice crack at a high note?
I remember it.
Oh no, this is not a good time to freeze. We want the tea.
Okay, so it was doing Fiddler at Kentwood.
Oh no.
I totally didn't realize until right before I was about to go on stage that I didn't have part of my costume. Yeah.
Was it an important part of your costume?
It was the shirt. Oh my God, because I had taken it home that week to wash it, and I forgot to bring it back that Thursday or Friday night. And Kathy Dershimer, I was so afraid I couldn't even face her because she had done the costume.
Oh no.
And she had, I quickly, someone went down to tell her, and I knew it was only a matter of time before she was going to be back upstairs, and I was like, shh. So I run into the back of the costume area. Looking for assistant manager that I can get, and I find it. You couldn't even notice the differences from the audience stage perspective.
Right.
Quickly put it on, and then put the sash and the rest of the features on, and then right in time for Kathy to come into the door, and she sees me, and I go, and she goes. I never felt so awful ever. That's like literally the worst, most irresponsible thing I've ever.
When you said didn't have your shirt, I thought you just meant like you've been changing costumes, it's hot, you're just kind of like, I'm leaving this off for a minute. And then it's like, oh gosh, I've got to go on stage. You meant like, I don't have it at the theater.
Like at the theater.
That's terrifying.
That it was, somebody was watching over. I don't know, because we did fix that really quickly, and it worked. It worked.
I have to say, something similar happened to me, but I took it home to wash. But what it was for me was that when I was grabbing my stuff, the item was black. It was my swimsuit, and I grabbed the other thing that was black on the bed of the laundry, and I thought I had the right items, but I did not. Luckily, I lived close enough to the theater that I was able to be like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And she got it to me. And also, luckily for me, that's one of the first things I do when I get there is I unpack my costumes and I hang them up. So I had plenty of time. But Anyway, that's a terrifying feeling.
Very, very.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
So, well, we got through it. Somehow we got through
You know what? Every time I ask these questions and we tell our stories, that it is always the show must go on. We find a way. We find a way to make the show go on.
Somehow it goes.
It has to go on. We do it. I love live theater. I love it. Well, Chris, thank you so much for sitting here and taking the time to speak with us. And
Thank you for inviting me. This is beyond a pleasure.
Oh, yay! Well, your Kentwood family loves you, and we hope.
Them.
Thank you, and we hope that you will, when we come out of this, that we'll see you on the stage, or off stage. Well, you always come see the shows. That's always great. And then also keep us posted on what you're doing as well, because we want to go see you,
I definitely will.
all over. So yay.
They'll be seeing me again.
I know that. Yay. And then everyone else, thank you so much for watching and hanging in there with us. And we're super excited. I'm checking real quickly to see if I can confirm. We have 2 special guests on Sunday, but I'll announce it tomorrow. I got a buzz and I was like, oh, confirmation. Anyway, so tune in on Sunday at 7 p.m. And everyone have a great rest of your week and weekend, and we will see you soon.